Hi, welcome to Nebulous Clem's channel. This is really exciting for me. This is the first Bloodborne video on my channel, and today we're going to be delving into Bloodborne as the one and only J Jonah Jameson. There are going to be a few different rules for the run, and I'll explain those as we go. But without further ado, sit back, grab a drink, and enjoy the ride.
Who is Spider-Man? He's a criminal, that's who he is.
So,
A vigilante.
rules for the run.
Menace.
First off, I can only use tools, weapons, and apparel that J Jonah Jameson would wear or use. I'll defeat as many bosses as I need to, so if I go into a specific area, I have to defeat that area's boss, even if it's optional. And where possible, during the recording, during my streams, so please follow me on Twitch, I wore a stick-on mustache because, you have to as J Jonah Jameson. There are only certain weapons and tools that I can use. I start off Threaded Cane, Writer Palash, the Boom Hammer, Tonitrus. Now, that might seem an odd one, but actually, there is one of the comics where J. Jonah Jameson explains he was struck by lightning as a kid. The Bloodletter, Repeating Pistol, Cannon. All excellent things. And then my tools are the Beast Raw, a Call Beyond, and the Tiny Tonitrus. So all of those are the things that I can use in this run. So let's get going with the actual run. To waking up in a hospital bed, obviously build to the bugle, we go down and get absolutely wrecked by a wolf and woke up at the office. It's looking a lot more derelict than last time I checked it. That's a bit strange. But hey, maybe the cleaners are taking a day off, eh? I know we were out last night somewhere, so this could have something to do with it. No idea what we drank last night, but hey, we'll take another. Found Betty Brant asleep at her desk. Shame. Picked up a walking stick for a little jaunt through the city. I proceeded to teach the wolf some manners before going for a bit of a walk through the city streets with absolutely no issues whatsoever. No matter what anyone tells you, it's fake news. Definitely nothing happened. Definitely not. Honest. You can trust me. So, I spoke to a young girl who, I didn't realise he was a father, but suggests I speak to her father, Eddie Brock. But on my way there, I heard of reports of Rhino causing problems in Midtown. So I went to catch an interview. He wasn't very forthcoming about it and just screamed the entire time. Honestly, you'd have a better job dealing with anyone else. Now, I know reporters shouldn't get involved, but after he grabbed me and slammed me around, I was not having any of it. So I wouldn't take it lying down. For my troubles, and also protection, I decided I had to step up. And so Rhino fell, eventually, after a swift beating with my walking stick. I decided, though, problem is, I'm getting old, and I need a few more bits of protection. So I popped to the gunsmith and bought myself a shiny new gun before I went to speak with Eddie. Popped in, said hi. Think there's something wrong with him. If I'm honest, I don't think he's quite himself. So he just lunged straight at me. Had to defend myself, I promise. And he was not receptive to any of my efforts of talking. Especially later. I, was teaching him a lesson, as you do with your staff, and then suddenly this alien symbiote takes him over and absolutely destroys me. How rude. Eventually, though, after a few missteps, I was able to teach him some manners. and subdue him after a short while. Poor Eddie. Obviously, the reporter business was not up to scratch for him. But after that, I was able to head further into the city. To mourn the loss of our dear Eddie Brock, I went into the cathedral and then treated myself to some new threads because I always need to look my best. So we headed downtown, quite far downtown actually, to discuss more things heading towards the large cathedrals. Unfortunately, this city is absolutely falling apart, and a lot of hoodlums tried to mug me on the way through. Me! J Jonah Jameson! And they tried to mug me. I will be taking the cab next time. I had to teach these rapscallions a lesson that they would never forget, giving them a beating with my walking stick before heading on. Honestly, I think they've been set up by that Spider-Man. They've been sent here to stop me from reporting the truth and getting me weakened, making me look like a fool. But no one makes a fool out of J Jonah Jameson. Ignore that one. Nobody makes a fool out of J Jonah Jameson. We, at the Daily Bugle, always strive for the truth. Which is why this investigative report is being done by me and not a half-rate journalist anymore. Has to be done properly. So, I am going to have to head down and down towards the cathedral. Unfortunately, who would be waiting there for me but Carnage? It's not a fight I wanted to have, but I needed to speak with him as well. But he is as fast as he is angry. And after many a loss, I decided that I would have to potentially try and catch my interview with him later. So many times. And these are just the few that I'm showing you. I decided to cash in and visit Agony first. So, bought the emblem that let me into the great cathedral and headed to interview Agony. Oh, her guards outside tried to beat me. No. I am on a mission to interview. Again, none of these people seem very receptive to my questioning. Agony, I assumed, would be slightly easier to talk to, but no. She opted for screaming. Screaming constantly. Now, obviously, this hurt my delicate ears, so I had a few issues. And eventually, after a few tries, I managed to take her on. I did also forget to start the recording until later, so enjoy the mustache. You can see how focused I am to get this job done, as I finally defeat her. She still opted for screaming, but hey, I got through it. Now, obviously, if you want to see these live, please do follow me on Twitch. I'll have the link in the description of the video. Yeah, I enjoy it. I do lots of different stuff, so please do. Okay, now, into the Forbidden Woods of Central Park, where I needed to go and collect my next weapons. First off, something to match my explosive temperament. The cannon. An amazing weapon. So we will be using the cannon later. It is actually, honestly, fantastic in this run. I've never used it before because it needs a stupid amount of strength. Didn't have the strength to wield it. A lot of strength. The other thing I needed was the Beast Roar. Also absolutely fantastic. Couldn't use that either. So I had some grinding to do. And as we all know, grind time. So I will beat my way through a shitload of enemies and then eventually had enough blood echoes to level and climb the longest ladder set in Bloodborne all the way to go and find the Cainhurst summons so that I could eventually find and meet Dr. Michael Morbius and ask him why his film was so bad.
I want Spider-Man!
I went through Hemwick, throwing a few people off things, and had to deal with a lot of these absolute fanatic spider fans, spiderlings, whatever they want to call themselves. Spider spawn, I call them, just like the spawns that they are. And I had to reach two people overtaken by Scorn and Scream. Two symbiotes. This fight was it's certainly a fight. Scorn and Scream did not enjoy me talking to them with a walking stick, but after a short while they were both defeated. Again, their interview mostly screams. After paying my respects to a poor fallen reporter, I collected the rune tool, which is very important. And I finally caught the cab I had been waiting for. The cab that took me to go and visit Dr. Michael Morbius. Honestly, when I called the Uber, I thought it was going to be a normal cab. Nope, they sent a horse and carriage. But hey, I can't complain about that. Better ride in style, eh? So we trotted off towards Michael Morbius. And I could also pick up my next weapon, which is a fantastic weapon. And actually, bloody saved me this run. This weapon is very, very important for a reporter like me, because to report, you need to take information, you need to take photographs, but you also must be a good writer. And that's what I'm going to get on my way through Cainhurst. Now, I will come back to Cainhurst later on, but I wanted to collect this first, because this is a fantastic weapon for me. I got stuck on the door, just ignore that, again. These doors open so bloody slowly. Like, do they not know who I am? Oh, you can hear the tears of people who watch Morbius as you walk through Cainhurst. We'll stop ripping on it eventually. And yes, the Reiter Palash is a fantastic weapon. Part sword, part gun. And what's not to love? So, after renaming the Reiter Palash, I returned to the Dream to get a few things done. I'll be back later with a more $1 billion. Sorry. It's just so easy. Anyway, back to downtown for some payback and a better interview with Carnage. Now, this one went a hell of a lot better. Eventually. Finally got into the swing of it. I managed to defeat him. Ignore the fact there's blue echoes there. And the defeat took some time. I always struggle with this boss, and I'm not quite sure why I struggle with him so badly. It's probably the poison and the speed. But anyway, I defeated him, and I was able to head back to the old Daily Bugle offices from before we moved to a dreamscape. You know, where else do you want to go? Had to go up and then through a load of places to find them, but my memory is as sharp as ever. I'll never forget where the old office is. So up I go in the lift to go and find our old offices. Now, this bit was a little tricky. Very easy to fall here. This is why we relocated. It's a lot easier when you're not having to do ridiculous jumps to get to work. But I always say dedication is key. That's what you need in a role like this. You need people to be dedicated enough to risk their own lives to get to work. Super important. Now, before we relocated to the Dream, we had some things left behind in the offices. There was a bone, don't know whose that is. That was a bit weird, a bit worried about that one. But anyway, I'll put that in the filing cabinet. Apparently as well, I think Betty had left some clothes in the locker. Don't know why, so I grabbed those for her. Grabbed an umbilical cord, no idea what that was there for, but anyway, grabbed that. And grabbed the other odds and ends as well, before getting myself kidnapped and taken to Seagate Prison. Now, important for that, because I needed to get to Seagate to interview people inside. Not the nicest place to be, though. At all. So, made my escape. And this is where I was going to collect another weapon. Unfortunately, I struggled with this one because the warden and his dogs were outside Seagate constantly, and it may have caused me a few issues, just a couple. I did manage to get the weapon, the Tonitrus, before getting mauled, so I think I win. So, the Tonitrus, fantastic weapon, really takes me back. So I am off back to the Forbidden Woods in Central Park, and I am off to find the Daily Globe, because apparently their reporters have been talking shit about me. So, it is my duty, as the #1 reporter of New York, to deal with them. There can only be one top-selling newspaper in New York City. Unfortunately, they really bloody ganged up on me, and all of them got their weapons and attacks in. But I went back with added zeal, and they could not hold me back forever. The Daily Globe are just absolute frauds. Look at them fall, one after another, until I, J Jonah Jameson, and the Daily Bugle am the true leading newspaper in New York. So, after defeating the Daily Globe, I headed up through the X-Mansion. Had a few issues with some of the students, and eventually went to speak to Madame Web and all the little spiderlings. The spiderlings attacked absolutely viciously. I had many an issue with these guys. Look at them. They are just defending Madame Web with their lives. And Madame Web even threw things at me. Very rude. I just wanted an interview. So, I decided a new tact was needed. I thought, do you know what? I'll head to the Nightmare Frontier, New Jersey, obviously. And I went to visit an old friend, Otto Octavius. Now, I'm scared of this strange laughter I heard, and to my absolute horror, through the glass of a cracked door, I saw a strange man spider. I couldn't hit him through the door, and he sent slimy underlings to attack me. I tried all I could to defeat him. So I went around and around. Now his slimy snail underlings make no sense. He is Spider-Man, not Snail-Man, not Slug-Man. So, with swift blows from the Tonitrus, I defeated them as well. They cannot stand in the way of truth and justice in this city. Last few went down like paper. But finally I had enough blood echoes to do what I have been wanting to get for a long time. I had enough for the cannon. And this here, fellow readers, is my canon event. I've been waiting to say that. So I took my cannon to go and visit Otto Octavius. Unfortunately, he had become the more fearsome Doc Ock. So I had a few jobs to do to help me defeat him. So, heading through New Jersey, making sure I don't get completely killed by all of these people here, and I took on Otto. Now, the problem for him, I let him get that hit in, obviously. The problem for him, the arms do a lot of things, but they don't make you bulletproof. So I completely wrecked him with a cannon to the face. And even though his ankles are his strongest spot for some reason, they did not help him as I flew around and smashed with the Tonitrus and defeated Doc Ock once and for all. Interview, short, but very successful. I felt ready to go and speak with Madame Web once again. Unfortunately, wasn't massively successful the first time, so my confidence was a little misguided here. So I decided, you know what, after a few tries, called in for my editors, and we realised that despite all her powers, despite being Madame Web, she is everything but bulletproof. She needed Luke Cage for that one. So me and the editors hopped down and we took the fight to her, defeating her eventually once and for all. My editor was a little bit slow on the uptake. It took a while to come down. But as we attacked her from both sides, she just couldn't put up with the amount of attacks we managed to deal to her. And she was finally defeated. A red moon rose, and eventually I was transported to an unseen village where I was set upon by new horrors. Obviously. I mean, when is there not a new horror in New York? And to deal with these new horrors, I needed a new tool. And that new tool comes in the shape of the tiny Tonitrus. It's a little bit tricky to find at times, but it's 100% worth it. And now I can make all of these people feel like I did when I was a child getting struck by lightning twice. Keeps my hair fresh though. Don't need gel, don't need anything. I have this beautiful lightning bolt. It's very effective. Still didn't have enough for it, but you know, I'll get there eventually. Now, I then headed out of the cathedral and was grabbed by a strange teleporting arm. Say teleporting on the arm, didn't teleport the arm, teleported me. And that took me to an alternate city where I collected a few new supplies. Very important stuff. I was going here for a very important weapon. Definitely had absolutely zero trouble with any of the populace here. Definitely nothing, no problems at all. Honest. Collected plenty of new supplies then. And like I said, if anyone tells you that I had trouble with any of these people, they're lying. Definitely lying. Definitely had no problems with the populace. But eventually I did manage to make my way through, dodging explosives and enemies alike, before running down and collecting. Somehow, very luckily, not dying there, but collecting the boom hammer, which is another one of my favourite weapons, but it perfectly matches my temper. It is a hammer that goes kaboom! Absolutely brilliant. J Jonah Jameson really is a powder keg at heart. Absolutely fantastic. Now, I started to go back through the areas. I needed to go through the upper cathedral ward, but look at that. What other weapon can boast such an impressive explosion? So, I headed through Yharnam, had some trouble with some laser drones, obviously, as you do. And I took on more creatures, more enemies, and things like that. Now, I needed to go further, so I went through Upper Cathedral Ward, all the way to the top, all the way through, and into the upper section. Now here, I was able to teach kids all these new TikTok dances I had learned, just to show that I am down with the kids. Unfortunately, I don't think they appreciated this new dance that I had learned. It is fabulous. Look at it. How can you not love this new TikTok dance, eh? Unfortunately, I don't think the kids really were receptive to this at all. So I reckon my reply shocked them a little bit, just a little. They were a little shocked, as I said. And so the Celestial Emissary went down with a very brief scuffle. Now, I learned some methods in my investigative journalism days. Always smash the windows. Well, not always, because you get in trouble, but do smash windows. Sometimes it's great. And finally, I found my camera flash, the Call Beyond. And the Call Beyond would carry me through. Now, back in Yharnam, I started to hear whooshing of sand. And slowly trickling sand came from the sky, and I realized, to my horror, Sandman. Sandman had appeared. Now, after our scuffle in 2007, I remembered a few things. Unfortunately, I remembered them too late. But I did remember lightning, not that effective. But you know what he really bloody hates? Other than his friends being attacked, fire. So, holy crap. Throw them urns and charge up that boom hammer, baby. Blast him. The final fight actually was very quick. And finally, the Sandman was dealt with. I then headed up the stairs towards the realm of Mysterio. But before actually meeting Mysterio himself, I had to get through some other areas. And I finally made my way down to find the man spider who I despise. Found him. He pretended to be all meek and innocent. I told him no and defeated that man spider once and for all. I can only assume that this here is the source of the Spider Menace. This is the spider that started it all, so it must be gone. Cannons, fire, and explosions destroyed the Spider Menace. I have finally defeated Spider-Man and all the other Spider-Men. Now, popped in to see Mysterio. I think, honestly, I know I backed him a while ago. I think he's lost his marbles a bit more. Well, he kept trying to run through mirrors, attack me with squid monsters, everything like that. Very, very unpleasant man. And then he got trapped in the mirrors. I think he lost his marbles a bit more. So lightning was very effective. And finally, he did not enjoy having his photo taken. Like, really didn't enjoy it. I think I broke his helmet. Then I remembered that I'd missed out. One of our good friends. I had missed out seeing the Shocker. Our interview was very, very short and sweet, and I got a really good photo. Look at that photograph, that's amazing. But yes, a very short and sweet battle against... There you go, a very short and sweet battle against the Shocker. So, next up was trying to find my way to visit Vulture. Now, Vulture, not very happy with me today. Had a few issues. Tried to attack me a lot. But, you know, what can I do here? Well, taking his picture wasn't very effective at all. But the wings do a lot. They help him fly. They help him attack me better. But what they don't do is make you explosive proof. So the hammer put in the work. They also didn't make him bulletproof either, so the cannon came in very helpful as well. And soon Vulture was defeated as well. I went to go and finish up some loose ends before I went to the last few places I needed to go. So, I went and took on Riot first. Now, Riot is a big boss, but a fantastic boss. So I took on Riot. And this is one of the few loose ends I had here before I head in to see the other parts. Now, Riot was very unhappy for me to be there like this. But again, no matter what a symbiote does to you, no matter how powerful you are, it doesn't make you bulletproof, especially to a cannon. So with Riot defeated, I was able to tick that off my list of people I needed to interview and people I needed to defeat. There were a few last places to go still before going into the more difficult areas. First off, it was Morbin time. I went to defeat Dr. Michael Morbius. So, I had a couple of issues with this fight, but all in all, not bad. Morbius, it seems, does not enjoy fire. So that's great. He was waving around a sword like a maniac and a scythe. But all in all, he went down with very little issues. And now I could finally be prepared and wear crown like the king I am. Oh yes, look at that crown, man. So, now it was time to head and visit Dr. Curtis Connors in the nightmare. Unfortunately, he was Lizard at first, and he just decided there was no point in interviewing and just unintelligible screaming and mauling me to death. Took a few tries. Quite a few tries. A lot of tries. More tries than I am showing you right now to defeat him. I always struggle with the first phase. Eventually, he found his family sword, which did not make the fight easier. But it brought back Kurt Connors. Hooray! So I was able to try and defeat him. And eventually, after hours and hours, I managed to finally defeat the Lizard. Using a few different things, also finding out that enough Call Beyond can stagger him. Pretty awesome. And Tonitrus, amazing weapon. Carried me through this fight really well and finished with a Visceral. How can that not be an amazing end to an amazing battle? Thud. So, after defeating Kurt Connors, I took the elevator up through the research hall and worked my way through the facility. I fought my way through many an opponent to get to the lift. Definitely didn't leave any of them alive downstairs, I'll promise. They definitely didn't attack me many, many more times. But shush. And eventually, I managed to work my way up through rafters, through halls, through insane patients, all the way up so I could start to deal with the mutated rats who lived above. I realized quite quickly that lightning was not effective, or it was mildly effective, but not very. So I went forward and beat some of these patients, only because they attacked me first. I don't go around beating patients, I promise. But I made my way up, and up I went. After remembering I could launch people off the side of platforms, that was a very helpful moment. I hit a brain with a club. That was a weird moment for the day. It's been an odd day, guys, if I'm honest. But you can tell the sound of a man who loves his job when he's minigunning people. So anyway, I headed up onto the rafters, up higher and higher, defeating creatures and mutated rats to finally bring the staircase to the right level. One of the best ways to deal with them. It's so funny. So I raised the staircase and brought myself face to face with my next set of enemies. As the staircase raised, I wondered, who could it be? And now I face the strangest set of criminals I could have ever imagined. It's the circus of crime. Now, they might have arcane skills and things like that, but what they don't have is protection against massive hits. I mean, they do that, so that Splash damage definitely killed me. Yes, I died to the living failures as well, but, you know, I like to keep it consistent. Like to give them that win every so often. But yes, after defeating and beating my way through the circus of crime, I was then bloody annoyed because I had one more hit to kill them and had to actually find a whole new enemy to hit. There we go. After killing the circus of crime, finally, I decided I needed to go and interview the next person. Now, this person I didn't expect. Spider-Gwen, just chilling there in a chair. I thought she was dead. Oh no, she was not. And she kept telling me only an honest death could kill me. So after many tries, misses, hits, fights, and battling, I was able, eventually, to give her the honest death that she so craved. The final fight was arduous, but I managed to eventually defeat her. Onward now, holding my newfound victories and the disc to open up the clock tower. I headed into this strange fishing hamlet near Coney Island Beach. I needed to get one final weapon before going to see the final bosses. And the first thing I needed to do was find the new weapon. Now, I had to find the key for it first, which took a bit of a while, because these fish people of Coney Island were a bit problematic. But they didn't enjoy a giant flamey hammer, which was very, very effective. Finally, after getting the key from Simon, I opened the door, and there was my prize, the blood letter, the final weapon in my arsenal. So I made my way through the docks. Definitely had no problems at all with the locals. No. No issues whatsoever with the locals or anything. And I finally made my way to Coney Island Beach, where none other than the Green Goblin was waiting for me. This battle was strong and hard. He hit me again and again and again and again. And just for good measure, the lift decided to kill me too. Oh dear God! I didn't end up counting that death in my death count because I thought it wasn't fair. That was more of a glitch. Eventually, after all of this time, I finally remembered that you can use a charged backstab to catch the Green Goblin off guard. So, using that new remembered knowledge, I was able to finally defeat the Green Goblin and let him rest. Norman Osborn, you've done us proud. And now, with the Green Goblin defeated, there were only a few last moments. I went to meet Peter Parker under a tree. He turned out to be the mind behind all of this. I refused him ending my suffering, and I fought my own protege, Peter Parker. I defeated him after many a trial. He beat me, he attacked me many times, but eventually Parker was felled, but not before I was, many times. His various attacks, his different styles, all caused me issues, but eventually he was no more than just a footnote on the page. Parker has been a good man. Something must have corrupted him to do this sort of thing. And I wasn't sure until my final moments with him what had corrupted him so. And then I realized what it was. It was the spirit of the spider. It tried to corrupt me with its spider whatever, but I rebuked it. I, J Jonah Jameson, did what no other could. I battled hard and finally fought my way through this beast, this possession, this evil creature that has plagued me for so long, and with a tiny sliver of my life left, I defeated the spider spirit itself, and finally slew the nightmare. I then felt all strange afterwards. Couldn't move my arms, couldn't move my legs. All I could do was kind of wiggle. And I have no mustache. Oh no. Final question haunts me. How? How can I grow a fantastic mustache without a proper face? I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's watched that. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was very silly, but I really, really hope you have enjoyed yourselves while watching this video. Please do all the stuff people ask you to do, like, subscribe, whatever. You don't have to, obviously, but it would be really cool if you did. Once again, just huge thank you for watching. I will hopefully see you again in another video sometime soon. Editing takes quite a while for me, so it may be quite a while before there's another one out, but I do have a couple of videos on the go at the moment, so see you soon, and thank you all so much. Bye.